We arrived at the final meeting of the Galactic Federation. All the leaders of the civilizations I helped unite are here. Vraxen, Zealots, Zyphrans, Etherians, Luminari, each with their own culture and beliefs, but all with a single objective. The tension in the air is palpable. We are about to face the greatest threat the universe has ever known. The war against the Obsidian Horde and Nyxar has brought us to this decisive moment. I feel the pressure on my shoulders, but I can't show weakness. They trust me. The responsibility is mine now. I look at each of them, knowing we are on unfamiliar ground. But the only thing that matters now is our unity. I stand to speak. Today, we are not fighting just for our planets or our civilizations. We are fighting for the very essence of the universe, for our chance to coexist and grow. United, we are stronger than any force of destruction. Silence fills the room. Even the most skeptical begin to understand the gravity of what is to come. We know this will be the final confrontation, the end of an era where the universe could either be transformed or destroyed. I look into the eyes of each leader and see fear mixed with determination. We are ready, but I know many of us will not return. The war is not only physical. In our hearts, we all feel the urgency of the mission. We cannot let Nyxar destroy everything. This is the moment. I take a deep breath, knowing that the battle that begins here will define the fate of all races, of the entire galaxy. They are ready to fight. I am, too. The asteroid field is in chaos. The sound of the combat fleets preparing for battle is deafening. Every ship, every fighter, is aware that the fight ahead will not be for territory or power, but for the survival of all life forms in the universe. The battlefield is forming before me, a desolate, chaotic terrain, where asteroids float like wreckage from a distant past. The Federation's combat ships take their positions, aligning for the final fight. All eyes are fixed on the horizon, waiting for the signal. I observe the front line: Vraxen, Zealots, Zyphrans, Etherians, Luminari. Each of these races represents not just a planet, but a story of survival, of sacrifice. Each of these races has something to lose in this war, and the weight of that responsibility is mine now. They are ready, but deep down, my mind keeps circling around a single thought. Nyxar, the primordial evil, once sealed, is now set free. Time is running out. The pressure is unbearable. This is no longer a fight against the Obsidian Horde, but against something much greater, something beyond any enemy we have ever faced. I feel, viscerally, that Nyxar is coming. He is no longer at the center of Helios. He is no longer distant. The shadow of his power begins to stretch over the battlefield. The battle that will define the fate of all of us. I think to myself, but what we don't yet know is that Nyxar is closer than we think. Fear runs through my veins, but so does determination. There is no turning back. We know what is at stake. The war has begun, and our only goal now is to survive. I board my ship, the Federation's last line of defense. The signal has been given. The confrontation is about to begin. And I know that the true battle, the one that will decide whether the universe survives or is swallowed by chaos, is still to come. Space explodes in a symphony of destruction. Ships collide, lasers cut through the void like blades of fire, and explosions reverberate across the galaxy. The sound of combat is deafening. I command my troops, moving each ship with precision. Every maneuver, every shot, is a deadly dance, a step closer to victory or perdition. The asteroid field, once calm and isolated, is now a moving hell. The Obsidian Horde does not retreat, does not show signs of weakness. They attack with fury, in overwhelming numbers, but the Federation is prepared. Our ships move in formation, creating a wall of fire against the Horde's advance. The clash of forces is brutal, and every second feels like an eternity. Explosions light up the space, making the scene more apocalyptic than anyone could imagine. Concentrate fire on the left flank. I shout over the communicator. The Federation ships follow the order, but even with our combined strength, something isn't fitting. The battle is unfolding like a dissonant orchestra, and the feeling that we are not fighting just for victory, but for our survival, grows with every shot. I move between the ships with agility, guiding my team with the precision of a strategist. But as the confrontation advances, I realize something terrible. The physical battle, as fierce as it is not what is at stake here. Ships fall, the Horde advances, but there is a growing sense that, no matter how much we destroy, something much greater is about to manifest. Nyxar, we have the power to win, I think, watching the fight intensify. But it's not about destruction, it's about preventing the awakening of something far more dangerous. The truth becomes clear. The Obsidian Horde is not the end. They are a distraction. Nyxar's awakening is near, and he is the one who truly threatens the universe. The battle against the Horde now seems small in the shadow of the primordial evil that approaches. I try to ignore the chill running down my spine, trying to focus, but the sense of despair is almost tangible. Our forces are at their limit, and with each passing second, I feel we are closer to losing everything. The war against the Obsidian Horde is still in full swing, but deep down, I know that the real test is only just beginning. Space around me distorts. I see it, and I can't believe what is happening. Nyxar is set free, no longer a shadow, no longer a distant presence. He is now an incomprehensible force, a cosmic void that begins to devour the stars around him. The light of nearby stars fades as though they had never existed. The light dies before it even reaches us, swallowed by the voracity of his energy. The space around Nyxar twists, bending under his will, and everything around us begins to crumble. The Federation ships, mine, begin to lose control, their combat formations now useless, swallowed by the waves of pulsing energy Nyxar emanates. He is not just destruction, I think, watching in horror this scene before me. Nyxar is the antithesis of creation. He is the void that consumes everything that exists, a force that cannot be defeated with weapons. The Obsidian Horde, once fierce and relentless, retreats. I see their ships pulling back, their commanders withdrawing, not because they have been defeated, but because they are allowing Nyxar to complete the ritual. They are just pawns in a much larger game. A part of me feels a pang of anger. Everything we have done so far, all the battles, all the victories, now seems irrelevant in the face of this absolute evil. I try to shout orders, try to maintain troop cohesion, but the reality of the situation hits me hard. The ships that once moved with precision are now losing control, floating in random directions, being drawn by the distortion Nyxar creates. The void within the space around him is unbearable. It's as if the universe itself is contorting, trying to escape his presence. I feel small before him, a mere mortal trying to face something that transcends all understanding. The weight of despair is almost unbearable. The fight against the Obsidian Horde, the war against destruction, all of that dissolves in the face of Nyxar's pure and crushing power. I look at the leaders of the Federation's civilizations. Their faces are pure terror, and the battle that seemed winnable now feels like a distant dream. They know what I know. The only thing that can stop Nyxar is a sacrifice that no one is prepared to make. The void around me is the essence of death itself, and with it, I feel the certainty that our fight may already be lost. I watch the chaos unfolding before me, each explosion, each destruction occurring on the battlefield seems to feed Nyxar, making him stronger, more unstoppable. It's as if he is absorbing all the vital energy of the creatures falling around him. Every life lost, every star that fades, only serves to increase his power, turning him into an even more immense monster, a void that consumes everything around him. I can no longer ignore this. It is not just the military power of the Obsidian Horde that threatens us. It is the very essence of life that Nyxar is swallowing. Every time a ship explodes, every time a warrior falls, I feel the weight of his growing strength. He doesn't need armies. He feeds on what is most precious, the vital energy of civilizations, of all that lives. If we continue like this, Nyxar will be unbeatable. He will become an indestructible cosmic force, and nothing, not even our unity, will be able to stop him. The victory we seek will turn into an eternal nightmare, where we are simply consumed one by one. But then an idea arises, a bitter, difficult, but unique solution. If the forces of the Galactic Federation unite, if all the remaining civilizations sacrifice their vital energies in one final effort, perhaps, just perhaps, we can create something large enough to stop him. This is not a simple victory. It is not a battle of swords or lasers. It is the essence of the universe, of creation and destruction. To defeat Nyxar, we will need a monumental sacrifice. The civilizations must unite, each offering what is most precious to them, their vital forces. This would create a wave of purifying energy that, with luck, could obliterate Nyxar and his destructive void. I look at the leaders of the united civilizations, their faces of anguish and fear reflecting the gravity of what I propose. The sacrifice will not be easy. Many of us, perhaps all, will have to pay a terrible price. The fear of the unknown is in their eyes, but I also see something else. The understanding that this is our only chance. We cannot win alone. I say, my voice firm, but full of sorrow. But together, we can create something greater. We must unite in one final sacrifice, or Nyxar will consume us all. I see the hesitation. The weight of the decision hangs in the air. But little by little, something begins to change. The cultural, ideological, and political differences that once separated us begin to seem small in the face of the cosmic terror we are facing. The Galactic Federation is no longer just a military coalition. Now, we are a single entity, a unified force against total darkness. This will be the final move, the last play we have left. If we fail, the universe will be consumed. If we succeed, we will be remembered as those who sacrificed to save all that we love. The future of the cosmos now depends on this choice. The room is silent. All the leaders, the representatives of each civilization that was once an enemy or merely a stranger to the others, are now standing side by side. The words of unity I spoke echo in my mind. But as we prepare for the final sacrifice, a bitter feeling settles in. What we are about to do will not only be a victory, it will be a loss we cannot undo. Each civilization, each race, begins to channel their vital energy. Our bodies and spirits become conduits of a force so powerful that reality itself seems to tremble. The energy flows from us like a cosmic river, each being offering a part of themselves, their very essence, to create something greater, something that will destroy Nyxar. The Vraxans, with their ethereal crystals, emit a deep glow, while the Zealots, with their telepathic abilities, send waves of pure mental energy. The Zypherans, the Etherians, and the Luminari, all of them, with their unique abilities, contribute to this beam of cosmic power. It is as if the galaxy itself is gathering for a final resistance against the darkness. I, Nolak, am the last to join this sacrifice. My hands are trembling, not from fear, but from understanding. This is the final act. The light that unites us will be our salvation or our destruction. There is no turning back. With a decisive movement, the energy is released, a beam of pure light that crosses space with immeasurable force. The light spreads, enveloping the ships, the stars, and the entire universe, converging into a single point, Nyxar, the primordial being, who fed on the stars and the energy of our civilizations, is now being consumed by the very energy it created. It writhes, its form distorting as if it is being disintegrated by the force that was beyond its understanding. The purifying wave hits it with the fury of the entire cosmos, and for a brief moment, the universe seems to calm, but not without a price. Nyxar, realizing that its destruction is imminent, reacts with a cataclysmic explosion. A wave of cosmic energy, even more intense than anything we had generated, spreads through space, devastating everything in its path. The ships of the Galactic Federation are disintegrated, and the bodies of thousands of warriors become part of the vortex of destruction it leaves behind. I feel the energy of my own forces draining away. The final sacrifice is being paid, and with it, the hope of survival for those who remain. When the explosion subsides, silence takes over. Nyxar, the antithesis of creation, the primordial force that threatened to consume the entire universe, disappears. But the victory comes at a price. The civilizations that united their forces will no longer be whole. What we offered cannot be recovered, and the universe, though saved, will never be the same. I look at the empty space, now free from the threat of Nyxar, but filled with the absence of our own energies, and I understand the weight of the sacrifice. The future of the galaxy is secured, but not without a deep cost. This is our final act, I think, as the cosmos settles around us. The light that unites us will be our salvation or our destruction. And even with the scars of battle in my heart, I know that we did what had to be done. The wave of energy crosses space with a monstrous fury. The beam, fueled by the essences of all the united civilizations, strikes Nyxar with overwhelming force. It trembles, its form disintegrates, and for a moment, the universe seems to stop. The primordial being, the force that threatened to consume everything that existed, finally disappears, but victory is not sweet. When Nyxar disintegrates, an energetic reaction begins to spread. Like a seismic wave crossing the fabric of the cosmos, the explosion generated by its death strikes the nearest star, causing it to expand catastrophically. The intense brightness of the supernova grows quickly, swallowing everything in its path. The ships of the Galactic Federation, our last hopes, have nowhere to hide. I see the flashes of destruction reflected in the ships around me. The stars in the distance, once bright and full of life, now fade. The sound of battle is already distant, and what remains is only the rumble of collapse. The entire galaxy seems to be succumbing to the void. But then, my mind focuses on something larger. In a single act of desperation, my allies and I manage to divert from the imminent destruction. Fleeing the explosion of the supernova with what little strength remains, we are alive, but not without losses. The civilizations that united to face the darkness are now hollow, their essences torn apart. The vital energy that gave form to our coalition has been almost completely extinguished. I look at the empty space, where there was once an infinite glow. The universe is saved, but the victory does not taste of conquest. The sacrifices were too great, and many lives were lost. Not just physical lives, but the very essence of the civilizations. The cosmic energy that sustained us was destroyed, leaving a void where once there was strength, life, and purpose. I approached the window of the ship, watching the supernova expand in a spectacle of light and destruction. I cannot help but feel the pain of loss, the weight of what was paid to ensure our survival. The universe is saved, but the scars are deep. We saved the universe, I think, looking at the remnants of the battle, but we lost something much more precious, our essence, our humanity. The galaxy will not be the same. And I, Nolak, the traveler who once believed he could save everything, now understand that in some battles, victory comes at a price that cannot be paid. What remains is to rebuild. But how to rebuild when? Deep down, we know we will never be the same. The post-battle silence is deafening. Space, which was once full of combat, is now quiet, as if it is recovering from the violence that just happened. The forces of the Galactic Federation, though shaken, begin to regroup, their ships approaching the core of the galaxy. What remains is celebration, but a celebration without sparkle. We know the loss was too great for any party. As I look out into space through the ship's window, a sense of emptiness takes over me. The wreckage of the Obsidian Horde ships still floats around us, and the last stars of the galaxy seem smaller now, as if the very energy of the cosmos had been drained. We won, but the price was too high. Suddenly, something catches my attention. In the distance, on the horizon, a shadow forms. It is not like any star or nebula I have ever seen. It is not a physical structure, but a presence, a void that devours the light around it. The shape is immense, almost cosmic, and stretches in an irregular pattern, a shadowy outline that seems to float in space, watching the galaxy. My hands tremble as I try to process what I see. Our allies, the Vraxen, the Zaliths, the Zyphrans, the Etherians, are all alert now, recognizing the same feeling of fear growing inside us. The war against Nyxar was not the end. Nolak, the soldier, the commander, the leader, the fight is not over. I know this now. Look, I murmur, almost not believing what I am seeing. The darkness seems to pulse, as if it is alive. It's not possible, says one of the leaders, their voice trembling, but full of fear. What is that? I stare at the shadow, and a sense of anticipation begins to grow within me. We don't know what it is, but we know it is ancient, much older than anything we have ever faced. This, I whisper, as the shadow enlarges, as if it is approaching us. The war is not over. Something else is coming, something even darker. The cosmic horizon, which once seemed vast and full of promises, is now a place of uncertainty. The darkness grows, and the feeling of helplessness is overwhelming. The true threat is still to come, and now, with the universe in ruins, it remains to be seen. Who are we to face what is about to awaken? The shadow advances, and I know our fight, our journey, is far from over. I am alone, watching the cosmos, still feeling the weight of the battle. We saved the universe, but at what cost? The sacrifice of civilizations, the drained energy, the lives lost, all of this to defeat Nyxar, or so we thought. The void before me is no longer just silence. It is a forewarning. The shadow I saw on the horizon is not an illusion. It is an ancient and primordial threat watching us. A force we cannot comprehend, but that is rapidly approaching. The victory was bitter. We are weak, our energies nearly extinguished. But one thing is certain. The war that just ended was only a preparation. What comes next is much darker, and no one knows what to expect. I know that the universe did not give us time to rest. Something even more dangerous and sinister is coming, and the worst part is, it is already in motion.